Tomorrow, something subtle yet powerful begins to unfold in the cosmos. Above us, the emotional tides of the moon are forming tense alignments with two very different planetary forces. Neptune, the planet of dreams and illusions, and Saturn, the cosmic teacher of truth and reality. When these energies collide, astrologers call it a cosmic illusion day, a moment when emotions, intuition, and reality can feel strangely intertwined. On days like this, many people begin to notice something unusual within themselves. Thoughts may feel foggy, emotions may seem deeper than usual. You might question something you once believed was certain, or suddenly see a situation in your life from a completely new perspective. This is not coincidence. When the moon forms a challenging square with Neptune and Saturn, it can create a powerful energetic tension between fantasy and truth, between what we feel and what actually is. The moon governs our emotional world, our instincts, memories, and subconscious reactions. Neptune adds a layer of mystery, spirituality, and illusion, blurring the line between imagination and reality. Saturn, on the other hand, represents structure, discipline, and karmic lessons. It asks us to face what is real even when that truth is uncomfortable. When these three forces interact through a square aspect, the universe often creates moments of deep reflection and revelation. Throughout this video, we're going to explore what this cosmic alignment means, why it can affect your emotions and intuition, and how you can navigate this powerful energetic window. We'll talk about the psychological effects of this alignment, the spiritual meaning behind it, and the subtle signs the universe may be sending you during this time. But before we dive deeper into today's cosmic message, take a moment to support the channel. If you enjoy exploring astrology, cosmic events, and the deeper meaning behind planetary movements, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more insights about the universe and its hidden patterns. And I'd also love to hear from you. Comment below and tell me where you're watching from and whether you've been feeling any unusual emotions or intuitive shifts recently. Now, let's begin our journey into this fascinating cosmic alignment and uncover what the universe might be revealing on March 15th. To understand why the cosmic alignment happening around March 15th, 2026, can feel so powerful, we first need to understand the role of the moon in astrology. The moon is not just a glowing object in the night sky. It is one of the most influential celestial bodies when it comes to our emotions, instincts, and inner world. In astrology, the moon represents the subconscious mind, emotional responses, memories, and the deep patterns that guide how we react to life. Unlike slower-moving planets that influence long periods of time, the moon moves quickly through the zodiac, changing signs approximately every 2.5 days. Because of this rapid movement, the moon acts like an emotional clock in the cosmos, constantly shifting the energetic atmosphere around us. Many astrologers describe it as a cosmic amplifier reflecting and magnifying the energies of the other planets it interacts with. This is why lunar aspects, especially tense ones, can affect how people feel almost immediately. On days when the moon forms challenging angles with other planets, people often notice sudden changes in mood, heightened emotional sensitivity, or an increased awareness of their inner thoughts. You might feel unusually reflective, nostalgic, or even emotionally overwhelmed without a clear reason. These subtle shifts are part of the moon's influence on the emotional landscape of our lives. Another important aspect of the moon's symbolism is its connection to intuition. The moon governs our instincts, the quiet inner voice that often senses things before the mind fully understands them. When lunar energy becomes strong, people may feel more intuitive, more empathic, and more connected to the emotions of others. It is as if the subconscious mind becomes louder, bringing hidden feelings and unprocessed experiences closer to the surface. During certain cosmic alignments, the moon can act like a mirror, reflecting deeper truths about what is happening within us. Emotions that were buried may suddenly appear. Old memories may resurface. Situations that once seemed clear may start to feel more complicated. While this can sometimes feel uncomfortable, it is also a powerful opportunity for emotional awareness and personal growth. The moon is also deeply connected to cycles. Just as it moves through phases in the sky, from new moon to full moon and back again, it reflects the natural cycles within our own lives. There are times when we feel energized, confident, and outwardly focused, and there are other times when we feel reflective, sensitive, and drawn inward. The moon reminds us that these shifts are natural and necessary for emotional balance, because the moon governs our inner world. Its interactions with other planets can create emotional tension or clarity depending on the nature of the aspect. When the moon forms harmonious connections, people often feel calm, inspired, or emotionally supported. But when the moon forms challenging aspects, like squares, the emotional atmosphere can become more complex. These moments can bring in a conflict, emotional confusion, or sudden realizations about situations we may have been ignoring. Another fascinating dimension of the moon's influence is its connection to collective emotions. Astrology suggests that the moon not only affects individuals, but also reflects the emotional climate of society as a whole. During certain lunar alignments, large groups of people may experience similar emotional themes at the same time, such as heightened sensitivity, introspection, or the need to reevaluate important decisions. This is why the moon is often described as the emotional gateway of the cosmos. It connects the outer universe with our inner experience, translating cosmic movements into feelings, moods, and intuitive insights. When the moon interacts with powerful planets, like Neptune and Saturn, the emotional signals it sends can become especially strong. Now that we understand the emotional role of the moon, we need to look at the next powerful force involved in this cosmic alignment: Neptune. In astrology, Neptune is often described as one of the most mysterious and spiritual planets in the entire solar system. Its energy is subtle, dreamlike, and sometimes difficult to fully understand. Yet it has a profound influence on human perception, imagination, and intuition. Neptune represents the world beyond logic. It governs dreams, creativity, spirituality, compassion, and the unseen layers of reality that exist beneath the surface of everyday life. While other planets deal with practical matters like ambition, communication, or responsibility, Neptune operates in a much more fluid and symbolic realm. It dissolves boundaries, blurs definitions, and encourages us to explore the deeper emotional and spiritual dimensions of existence. Because of this, Neptune is often associated with the idea of illusion. But in astrology, illusion doesn't always mean deception in a negative sense. Instead, it represents the way our minds can project hopes, fears, fantasies, and expectations onto the world around us. Neptune energy can make things feel magical and inspiring, but it can also create confusion when we struggle to distinguish between what is real and what we wish were true. This is why Neptune is often linked to imagination and creativity. Artists, musicians, writers, and visionaries frequently draw inspiration from Neptune's energy because it opens the door to new possibilities and perspectives. Under Neptune's influence, people may feel more emotionally connected to beauty, symbolism, materialism, and spiritual meaning. It is the planet that reminds us that life is not just about logic and structure. It is also about wonder, mystery, and imagination. However, Neptune's energy can also create emotional fog. When Neptune becomes strongly activated in the sky, people sometimes feel uncertain about their perceptions. Situations that once seemed clear may start to feel confusing. You may question your assumptions, wonder if you misread someone's intentions, or feel unsure about the direction you should take. This sense of uncertainty is one of Neptune's most recognizable effects. Another fascinating aspect of Neptune's symbolism is its connection to intuition and the subconscious mind. Neptune encourages us to listen to subtle signals, the quiet emotional impressions and inner feelings that often arise before logical explanations appear. During strong Neptune alignments, many people report vivid dreams, heightened empathy, and a stronger connection to spiritual or creative inspiration. This is why astrologers sometimes describe Neptune as the keeper of the spiritual veil. The veil represents the thin boundary between the visible world and the invisible layers of consciousness that exist beyond ordinary perception. When Neptune's influence becomes stronger, that veil can feel thinner, making people more sensitive to emotional and intuitive information. But with that sensitivity also comes vulnerability. Because Neptune dissolves boundaries, it can sometimes make people more susceptible to misunderstanding situations or idealizing others. You might see someone through the lens of hope rather than reality, or interpret events through feelings instead of facts. This is where Neptune's illusions begin to play a role. In the cosmic alignment happening around March 15, 2026, Neptune forms a challenging square with the Moon. This means that the emotional energy of the Moon is interacting with Neptune's dreamlike influence in a way that can create tension. Instead of flowing smoothly, the energies push against each other, making emotional perception more complex. Under this influence, people may experience moments where intuition feels strong, but clarity feels distant. You might sense that something is shifting, yet struggle to explain exactly what it is. Emotions may become deeper, but also more mysterious. This is the signature of Neptune's energy at work, drawing attention to feelings and perceptions that lie beneath the surface. Yet Neptune's purpose is not simply to confuse. Its deeper role is to encourage awareness. When illusions appear, they often reveal the stories we tell ourselves about life, relationships, and our own identities. By bringing these illusions to the surface, Neptune gives us the chance to examine them more closely and discover what lies beneath. And this is where the story becomes even more interesting. Because while Neptune may blur the boundaries of reality, another planet involved in this alignment has a very different mission. Where Neptune dreams, another force demands truth. Where Neptune dissolves structure, another force rebuilds it with discipline and clarity. After exploring the mysterious and dreamlike energy of Neptune, we now arrive at a very different kind of planetary force, Saturn. In astrology, Saturn is often called the cosmic teacher, the planet that represents responsibility, structure, discipline, and the deeper lessons that shape our lives over time. While some planets bring inspiration or emotional sensitivity, Saturn brings something much more grounded, reality. Saturn's role in astrology is to establish boundaries and remind us of the rules that govern both the physical world and our personal growth. It represents commitment, maturity, patience, and the gradual process of building something meaningful through effort and perseverance. Unlike the fast-moving Moon or the dreamy influence of Neptune, Saturn moves slowly through the sky, influencing long periods of personal development and transformation. Because of this slow and steady movement, Saturn's influence is often associated with life lessons that unfold over years rather than days. It is the planet that encourages us to take responsibility for our choices, to face challenges directly, and to learn from experiences that test our strength and character. While Saturn's lessons can sometimes feel heavy or difficult, they are ultimately meant to help us grow wiser and more resilient. Astrologers often connect Saturn with the idea of karma. In this sense, Saturn represents the principle that actions have consequences. The efforts we invest, the responsibilities we accept, and the discipline we develop eventually shape the structure of our lives. Saturn does not reward shortcuts or illusions. Instead, it encourages honesty, patience, and the willingness to confront reality as it truly is. This is why Saturn is sometimes referred to as the planet of truth. Not necessarily truth in a philosophical sense, but truth in the practical sense of what actually works in the real world. When Saturn's energy becomes active in an astrological alignment, it often brings moments of clarity, times when people are asked to recognize what is sustainable and what is not, what is real and what may only be wishful thinking. In contrast to Neptune's fluid and imaginative nature, Saturn represents stability and structure. Where Neptune dissolves boundaries, Saturn builds them. Where Neptune dreams about possibilities, Saturn asks whether those possibilities can actually exist in reality. These two planets operate on very different frequencies, and when their energies interact, they often create a fascinating dynamic between vision and practicality. During the cosmic alignment around March 15, 2026, Saturn forms a square aspect with the Moon. As we discussed earlier, a square is a challenging angle in astrology that creates tension between planetary energies. Instead of blending smoothly, the forces involved push against each other, creating friction that can lead to awareness, growth, or important realizations. When the emotional Moon encounters Saturn through a square aspect, people may feel a strong urge to confront their feelings more seriously. Emotional reactions that were once easy to ignore may now demand attention. Situations that seem stable might reveal hidden weaknesses, encouraging us to reassess our choices and priorities. This influence can sometimes feel heavy because Saturn encourages maturity. It asks us to step back from emotional impulses and consider the long-term consequences of our actions. Under Saturn's influence, the universe often presents opportunities to learn patience, strengthen boundaries, and build emotional resilience. But Saturn's role in this cosmic alignment becomes even more interesting when we consider its interaction with Neptune. Remember, Neptune represents dreams, imagination, and sometimes illusion. Saturn represents reality, discipline, and truth. When these two energies are both influencing the Moon at the same time, the result can be a powerful tension between fantasy and fact. This is where the theme of cosmic illusion truly begins to emerge. Neptune may encourage us to see life through the lens of emotion, hope, or imagination, while Saturn asks us to examine those perceptions carefully. Are our beliefs grounded in reality? Are we seeing situations clearly, or are we projecting our expectations onto them? This interaction does not mean that dreams are impossible or that imagination is wrong. Instead, Saturn's presence ensures that dreams are supported by structure and responsibility. It challenges us to transform inspiration into something tangible, something that can endure beyond temporary emotions. In many ways, Saturn's energy serves as a stabilizing force within the cosmic alignment, while Neptune opens the door to mystery and emotional depth. Saturn provides the wisdom needed to interpret those experiences realistically. It encourages us to balance intuition with practical understanding, imagination with discipline, and emotional insight with thoughtful action. As the Moon carries these powerful influences into our emotional awareness, the stage is set for a unique cosmic experience, one where feelings, dreams, and reality begin to interact in ways that can reveal deeper truths about ourselves and the world around us. Now that we understand the emotional influence of the Moon, the dreamlike nature of Neptune, and the reality-driven energy of Saturn, we need to explore the final piece of this cosmic puzzle, the square aspect itself. In astrology, the square is one of the most powerful and transformative alignments between planets. While it can create tension, that tension often acts as a catalyst for growth, awareness, and change. A square occurs when two celestial bodies form an angle of approximately 90 degrees in the sky. Astrologers interpret this geometric relationship as a point of energetic friction. Instead of flowing easily together, the planetary energies involved begin to challenge one another. This challenge creates pressure, and that pressure encourages movement, reflection, and ultimately, transformation, unlike harmonious aspects such as trines or sextiles, which tend to create smooth and supportive energy. The square forces us to confront situations that may require adjustment. It brings awareness to areas of life where something may be out of balance. While this can feel uncomfortable at first, it also offers one of the most powerful opportunities for personal growth. Think of the square aspect as a cosmic signal that something needs attention. It pushes hidden emotions, unresolved questions, or unclear situations to the surface so they can be examined more honestly. Without this kind of tension, many people might continue moving through life without questioning their assumptions or recognizing deeper truths. When the moon forms a square with another planet, the effects are often felt emotionally and psychologically. Because the moon governs our inner world, these alignments can stir feelings that were previously quiet or unnoticed. People may experience sudden realizations, emotional tension, or moments of deep reflection that encourage them to see things differently. In the case of the alignment we're exploring, the moon forms squares with both Neptune and Saturn. This creates a unique energetic triangle where three very different forces interact simultaneously. On one side, Neptune introduces dreamlike perception, imagination, and emotional sensitivity. On the other side, Saturn introduces discipline, structure, and a demand for truth. The moon sits in the middle of these influences, translating them into emotional experiences. This is why the energy of this alignment can feel complex. Part of us may want to follow intuition, imagination, or hope. Another part of us may feel the need to analyze reality more carefully and question whether those feelings are grounded in truth. The square aspect intensifies this internal dialogue, bringing awareness to the contrast between dreams and practical reality. Astrologically, squares are often associated with turning points. They represent moments when the universe nudges us to pay attention to what is happening within and around us. Sometimes this awareness arrives through subtle emotional shifts. Other times it arrives through external events that challenge our expectations or reveal something we did not previously notice. However, the purpose of a square aspect is not to create chaos. Instead, it functions as a kind of cosmic training ground. By presenting situations that require reflection and adjustment, squares encourage growth. They motivate us to evolve beyond old habits, outdated beliefs, or emotional patterns that no longer serve us. In this way, the tension created by the square becomes a tool for awakening. It helps us recognize where illusion may exist and where greater clarity is needed. It also encourages us to balance different energies within ourselves. In this alignment, that balance involves integrating Neptune's intuition and imagination with Saturn's realism and discipline. Another fascinating element of square aspects is that they often produce moments of insight. The pressure created by competing energies can trigger sudden realizations, helping us understand situations from a new perspective. What once seemed confusing may suddenly become clearer. Questions that lingered in the background may finally demand answers. When this happens through the emotional lens of the moon, these insights can feel deeply personal. They may relate to relationships, life direction, personal beliefs, or inner emotional patterns. The square invites us to observe these experiences carefully rather than reacting impulsively. So while the word tension may sound negative, the square aspect is actually one of the most dynamic and productive forces in astrology. It pushes us forward, challenges our perceptions, and encourages us to grow beyond limitations that might otherwise remain unnoticed. With the moon translating the energies of Neptune and Saturn through this powerful square alignment, the stage is set for a day of heightened emotional awareness and subtle transformation. When a powerful cosmic alignment takes place, its influence is often felt first in our emotions and inner thoughts. Because the moon governs the emotional landscape of astrology, any intense aspect involving the moon tends to manifest through feelings, moods, and subconscious reactions. During the alignment we are exploring, The moon is interacting with two very different planetary forces, Neptune and Saturn. One invites imagination and emotional depth, while the other demands realism and clarity. As a result, many people may experience a unique combination of emotional sensitivity and inner questioning. One of the most common psychological effects during this type of alignment is emotional confusion. Situations that once seemed simple may suddenly feel complicated. You might find yourself revisiting conversations, analyzing memories, or wondering whether you truly understood someone's intentions. This does not necessarily mean something is wrong. Rather, it reflects the tension between Neptune's tendency to blur perception and Saturn's urge to examine reality more carefully. For some individuals, this energy can bring heightened emotional awareness. Feelings that were previously hidden beneath daily routines may rise to the surface. Old memories might reappear in your thoughts, especially memories connected to relationships, past decisions, or important life turning points. This emotional resurfacing can feel intense, but it often provides an opportunity to understand yourself more deeply. Another effect many people notice during this alignment is a strong sense of introspection. You may feel more reflective than usual, spending time thinking about where you are in life and where you want to go next. Questions about purpose, direction, and authenticity may appear in the mind. These reflections are often triggered by Saturn's influence, which encourages maturity and long-term thinking. At the same time, Neptune's presence can create a dreamy emotional atmosphere. You might feel more imaginative, more spiritually aware, or more sensitive to the moods of people around you. Some people report feeling unusually empathic during strong Neptune alignments, almost as if they can sense the emotions of others more easily. While this heightened sensitivity can deepen compassion, it can also feel overwhelming if emotional boundaries become unclear. Dreams may also become more vivid during this period. Neptune is strongly connected to the world of dreams and symbolism, and when its influence combines with the moon, the subconscious mind can become very active. People often report unusual dreams, symbolic imagery, or emotional messages appearing in their sleep. These dreams sometimes reflect inner thoughts that have not yet been fully processed during waking life. Mental clarity can also fluctuate under this alignment. Neptune's influence may create moments when concentration becomes more difficult, especially if the mind drifts toward imagination or emotional reflection. Saturn, however, may counterbalance this by encouraging practical thinking. This push and pull between imagination and logic can create an internal dialogue where you question your feelings and analyze them more deeply. Relationships may also come into focus during this time. Emotional interactions with others may feel more significant than usual, and you may begin to notice subtle dynamics that were previously overlooked. Neptune can inspire idealization, causing people to see others through a lens of hope or expectation, while Saturn encourages a more realistic perspective. Together, these influences may lead to moments where illusions dissolve and a clearer understanding of a relationship emerges. It is important to remember that these emotional and psychological shifts are not necessarily negative. In many cases, they serve as catalysts for self-awareness. By bringing hidden feelings into conscious awareness, the alignment encourages reflection and emotional honesty. Moments of confusion can eventually lead to clarity once the deeper meaning behind those emotions becomes understood. Another interesting aspect of this alignment is the possibility of intuitive insights. When the emotional sensitivity of the moon combines with Neptune's spiritual awareness, some individuals may experience sudden realizations or subtle intuitive impressions. These insights might appear as quiet inner thoughts, symbolic dreams, or a feeling that something important is becoming clearer. However, Saturn's presence reminds us to examine these impressions carefully. Not every emotional reaction reflects reality, and not every intuitive feeling represents a complete truth. Saturn encourages patience and thoughtful observation, allowing time for emotions and insights to settle before drawing conclusions. Ultimately, the psychological effects of this alignment can be described as a process of emotional sorting. Feelings rise to the surface, perceptions are questioned, and deeper awareness begins to develop. What may initially feel like uncertainty can gradually transform into understanding as the emotional landscape becomes clearer. One of the most fascinating aspects of the alignment happening around March 15, 2026, is the possibility that it can reveal truths that were previously hidden beneath the surface of our daily lives. When the emotional sensitivity of the moon interacts with the dreamlike influence of Neptune and the reality-driven force of Saturn, the result can feel like a moment when illusions begin to dissolve, and deeper understanding slowly comes into view. In astrology, alignments involving Neptune often bring situations where perception becomes unclear at first. Neptune has a way of wrapping reality in layers of emotion, imagination, and hope. Because of this, people sometimes see what they want to see rather than what is truly present. But when Saturn enters the picture through a challenging aspect, it acts almost like a cosmic spotlight, illuminating the areas where those illusions may exist. This combination creates a unique energetic environment where emotional awareness and practical truth begin to interact. Many people may experience subtle realizations during this time, moments when something suddenly makes sense after a long period of uncertainty. It might be a realization about a relationship, a personal habit, or even a long-standing belief about yourself. One common sign that hidden truths are emerging is a sudden shift in perspective. You may look at a familiar situation and notice details that were previously overlooked. Something someone says might resonate differently than before, or a memory might return to your mind with a new meaning attached to it. These moments often feel quiet and reflective rather than dramatic, yet they can bring a powerful sense of clarity. Another possible sign is emotional detachment from something that once felt very important. Neptune sometimes encourages idealization, making people hold on to dreams or expectations that may not fully match reality. When Saturn's influence becomes stronger, you may begin to see those expectations more objectively. Instead of feeling attached to a particular outcome, you might start recognizing what is actually sustainable or healthy in the long term. For some individuals, this process can feel like waking up from a dream. Situations that once seemed confusing may start to make sense as patterns become visible. For example, you may notice recurring themes in your relationships, recognize emotional habits that repeat over time, or realize that a certain path in life no longer aligns with your deeper values. This type of realization is not meant to create disappointment. In fact, it often brings relief. Once illusions are removed, it becomes much easier to make decisions based on truth rather than uncertainty. Saturn's influence encourages stability and maturity, helping people build foundations that are more authentic and lasting. Another way hidden truths may appear during this alignment is through intuition. The moon heightens emotional awareness, and Neptune opens the door to subconscious insight. Together, they can make people more receptive to subtle signals from within. You might feel a quiet sense that something is shifting, even if you cannot immediately explain why. These impressions often become clearer with time and reflection. Dreams can also play an important role during periods influenced by Neptune. The subconscious mind often communicates through symbolic images while we sleep. During this alignment, some people may experience vivid dreams or emotional dream sequences that seem unusually meaningful. While not every dream carries a message, paying attention to recurring themes or strong emotions in dreams can sometimes reveal insights about what the mind is processing. External events may also mirror this internal process of discovery. Sometimes the universe seems to arrange circumstances that gently push us toward awareness. A conversation, a coincidence, or an unexpected piece of information might arrive at just the right moment to clarify something that has been uncertain. Astrology often describes these moments as synchronicities. meaningful connections between events that appear to guide us toward understanding. It is important to approach these realizations with patience rather than rushing to conclusions. Because Neptune can blur perception, the process of uncovering truth may unfold gradually. Saturn encourages steady reflection, allowing time for insights to settle and for emotions to balance before making major decisions. Now that we've explored the emotional, psychological, and spiritual effects of the Moon square Neptune and Saturn alignment, it's time to discuss how to navigate this powerful cosmic energy. While the combination of the Moon, Neptune, and Saturn can create tension and emotional intensity, it also provides a unique opportunity for growth, self-awareness, and spiritual insight. By approaching this day with mindfulness and intention, you can turn what might feel like confusion into clarity. First, ground yourself emotionally. The first step in navigating this energy is to remain grounded. With the Moon amplifying emotional responses and Neptune blurring perception, it's easy to feel overwhelmed or swept away by strong feelings. Practices like deep breathing, meditation, or spending quiet time in nature can help anchor your energy. Journaling your emotions is another excellent tool. Writing down your thoughts allows you to process subtle feelings before they escalate into confusion or anxiety. Second, observe, don't react. Saturn's influence encourages patience and careful reflection. During this alignment, it's crucial to observe your emotions rather than reacting impulsively. If you feel a sudden emotional surge, take a moment to pause and ask yourself what might be underlying that feeling. Is it a reflection of reality, or could it be an illusion amplified by Neptune's energy? Slowing down your responses allows you to make decisions with clarity, rather than being driven by emotional waves. Third, pay attention to intuition and dreams. Neptune enhances intuition, and the Moon makes you more sensitive to subtle signals from your subconscious. Take note of recurring thoughts, emotional impressions, or symbolic dreams. Often these messages contain insights about personal patterns, relationships, or situations in your life that require attention. Keeping a dream journal or meditating on your intuitive impressions can help you decode the messages that the universe is sending. Fourth, evaluate relationships and situations objectively. This alignment can reveal hidden truths in your interactions with others. Saturn encourages realism, so take this time to assess relationships, projects, or commitments subjectively. Are you holding on to something because of illusion or idealization, or because it truly serves your growth and well-being? Neptune may make you emotionally attached to outcomes that aren't realistic, so careful reflection is key to avoid disappointment. Next is, release what no longer serves you. One of the core lessons of the Cosmic Illusion Day is learning to distinguish between what is real and what is illusory. Take time to release old habits, emotional attachments, or beliefs that may be clouding your judgment. By letting go of what no longer serves you, you create space for clarity, growth, and authentic opportunities to enter your life. Next is, use creative and spiritual outlets. Neptune encourages imagination and spiritual awareness. This is an ideal day to engage in creative or spiritual practices. Painting, music, writing, meditation, or energy work. These activities allow you to channel the intense energy of the day constructively, and can also reveal subconscious insights that might otherwise remain hidden. Next up, maintain balance between intuition and practicality. The tension between Neptune and Saturn reminds us to integrate intuition with practicality. While emotional and psychic impressions are valuable, it's important to validate them with grounded thinking. Take your time before making decisions and avoid acting solely on fleeting feelings or illusions. Saturn's energy will help you build stable foundations based on truth rather than wishful thinking. Final is, reflect and journal at the end of the day. Finally, end the day with reflection. Write down insights, emotional shifts, or realizations that occurred. Documenting these moments helps you recognize patterns, track personal growth, and see how the cosmic alignment influenced your life. Over time, these reflections can provide a roadmap for navigating similar energies in the future. As we wrap up our exploration of the Moon square, Neptune, and Saturn alignment on March 15, 2026, it's important to remember that today's energy is both intense and transformative. The Moon, guiding our emotions and intuition, meets Neptune, the planet of dreams, illusions, and spiritual insight, while Saturn, the cosmic teacher, demands truth, discipline, and reality. Together, they create what astrologers call a cosmic illusion day, a moment when emotions feel amplified, perceptions may blur, and hidden truths begin to surface. This alignment invites us to observe our feelings carefully, distinguish reality from illusion, and approach life with both awareness and intention. Many of you may have noticed subtle shifts in your emotional state, sudden clarity about a situation, or even vivid dreams that feel meaningful. Perhaps relationships, personal beliefs, or long-held patterns have felt illuminated in a new way. These experiences are the universe's way of helping us recognize what is authentic and what no longer serves us. While Neptune encourages reflection, creativity, and intuition, Saturn reminds us to ground our insights in reality, offering structure to what could otherwise feel confusing or overwhelming. The tension of this square is not meant to create fear. It's a call to awaken, to see clearly, and to integrate emotional awareness with practical wisdom. To navigate this day successfully, stay mindful. Take time to journal your thoughts, meditate, or engage in creative practices that help process your emotions. Observe your dreams and intuitive nudges, but balance them with the grounding energy of Saturn. Avoid making impulsive decisions